There are two types of products, tangible and intangible. Some people are capable of selling tangible products, and some people are capable of selling intangible products. If you can sell the one, you probably cannot sell the other. A tangible product is something you can touch, taste, feel, hold, demonstrate, and try out. Examples include a car, a boat, office equipment, furniture, decorations, computers, watches, or tools. If you are the kind of person who likes tangible products, you will only be successful when you are selling them. You can relate to them and enjoy them. You feel happy when you are talking about them, describing them, and selling them to others. You will never be successful or happy selling an intangible product. An intangible product, on the other hand, is something that you cannot touch or taste. Intangible products are usually ideas of some kind. For example, investments are an idea. Insurance is an idea. Education and training products and services are ideas. Even real estate as an investment is an idea based on concepts and numbers more than it is a tangible product. If you are the kind of person who loves ideas and concepts, you'll only be content selling some kind of intangible product. The best way to ascertain which type of salesperson you are is to ask yourself, am I interested in concrete products and things, or in the world of ideas? Do you like to work with your hands and deal with products that you can touch and feel? Or do you like philosophy, psychology, and metaphysics? If you enjoy discussing politics and religion, or your interests are drawn to concepts, you will be happiest selling intangible services. If your major interest is in solid things like houses, cars, clothes, and computers, then you should sell tangibles. If ever you get into a field and feel uncomfortable selling a particular product or service, this is an indication that you may be selling the wrong product for your individual personality. When you are selling the right thing for you, you will become involved emotionally. It will excite you and interest you. It will absorb your attention. You will like to think about it and discuss it with others. But if your heart is not in what you are selling, you may be selling the wrong thing for you. To be successful in selling, you must actually love your product and be excited about what it can do to improve the life or work of your customers. You will only be fruitful when you believe that what you are selling is a great product or service in comparison with everything else that is on the market. The acid test of whether or not you are selling the right product for you is your level of enthusiasm about it. Since enthusiasm is an emotion that comes from within, it can only be triggered when what you are doing on the outside is in harmony with what you feel on the inside. If you are not enthusiastic about what you are doing, it is obviously the wrong thing for you. Perhaps the most common emotions of poor performers are envy and resentment. They are jealous of other people's success. They seek every opportunity to criticize and complain about high-performance people, usually behind their backs. Fortunately, their negative attitude has no effect on these high achievers, but it dooms these underachievers to personal failure throughout their careers. Always admire the top people in your field. Speak positively about them. Look up to them and use them as your role models. Try to emulate them in every way possible. Be happy for their success. Keep reminding yourself that anything that they have accomplished, you can accomplish as well. Be grateful that there are people ahead of you and making more money than you, because this is proof that you can achieve the same goals. Always want for others what you want for yourself. Program yourself for success. When you admire and look up to other successful people, you program your subconscious mind to do and say exactly the same things that they do. And when you program your subconscious mind for achievement, it will find ways to help you. It will give you inspiration and energy to move you toward your goals. It will attract people and ideas into your life. Your subconscious mind will give you answers to solve your problems and strategies to achieve your goals. It is the most powerful force in the world, and you can use it any way you want. In more than 50 years of motivational research, psychologists have found that an attitude of confident expectation seems to go hand in hand with great success in every area. If you confidently expect to succeed in advance, you'll be optimistic. This optimism has an effect on everyone around you, making them respond more positively toward you and your offerings. The law of expectation says, whatever you expect with confidence becomes your own self-fulfilling prophecy. If you expect to succeed, you will succeed. If you expect to be popular wherever you go, you will be popular. If you expect to have a good time at a party, you will have a good time. Your expectations will become your realities. Your expectations exert an inordinate influence on other people. If you confidently expect to sell to a prospect, this expectation is picked up by the subconscious mind of the prospect. In a very positive way, your expectations enable you to influence the prospect into making a buying decision that is good for both of you. One of the greatest obstacles to selling is negative expectations. These occur when the salesperson, as a result of attitude or previous experience, does not expect to be successful. He unconsciously manufactures these negative expectations in advance, and when he goes in to see the prospect, he's already convinced himself that he is wasting his time. The prospect picks up on this feeling of negative expectation and responds negatively to the offering. Your expectations, positive or negative, are completely under your own control. They can help you or hurt you, and good or bad, they influence the behavior of those around you. Be sure that you manufacture and maintain only positive expectations in everything you do. Confidently ignore customer skepticism. Virtually all customers are hesitant about buying. They are skeptical. They've been burned many times by salespeople in the past. As a result, they give a lot of knee-jerk objections and reasons for not buying. I'm not interested. I don't have the money. Business is slow right now. Let me think it over. I need to talk to someone else. Leave me something to look at, and so on. But none of these are real reasons for not buying. They're normal and automatic responses to any sales offering. However, if you confidently expect to sell and take no note of these objections, the customer eventually begins to relax and come around. Many an uncertain buyer has been completely turned around by the positive attitude and confident expectations of the salesperson. The salesperson simply ignored the initial sales resistance and kept on talking, asking questions, and listening. Eventually, the customer's resistance broke down and he decided to buy. When you've been sold by a professional salesperson, you stay sold. You actually enjoy the experience. You don't experience buyer's remorse. You're happy that you bought the product or service, and you are eager to get it and begin using and enjoying it. And the more confident and positive the salesperson, the more satisfied you are with the buying experience. This should be your goal with each of your customers as well. Change your thinking, change your life. The law of correspondence says that your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. In other words, everything that happens to you on the outside is a reflection of what is going on with you on the inside. If you want to change or improve any part of your sales or personal life, you have to begin by changing yourself on the inside. Everything we've been talking about so far has revolved around making these inner changes in a positive and constructive way. Feed your mind with mental protein. Make the decision today to read in your field for 30 to 60 minutes each day. Like any professional, develop your own library of sales books. Each morning, instead of reading the newspaper or watching television, invest 30 to 60 minutes reading something on sales that will help you to perform better during the day. Henry Ward Beecher once said, "The first hour is the rudder of the day. What you put into your mind in the first hour sets the tone of your mind for the rest of the day." If you feed your mind with something positive, educational, and uplifting in the first hour, you'll perform better all day long. You'll be more cheerful, relaxed, and self-assured. You will also be more resilient and will bounce back faster from rejection and disappointment. Get up every morning 2 hours before your first appointment. If you have to be at work at 8 a.m., get up at 6 a.m. Spend an hour reading and then get ready for your day. All top people arise early and get going immediately. Average people rise at the last possible minute, run around in circles, and then dash off for the office with no time for thinking or preparation. By getting up in the morning and reading a half hour to an hour in sales, you'll find yourself reading about 1 sales book per week. This will translate into about 50 books per year. 50 books per year multiplied by 10 years will come to a total of 500 books. Do you think this would have any effect on your sales results or your income? The fact is that when you discipline yourself to read 30 to 60 minutes each day in your field, you will soon become one of the most knowledgeable, skilled, and highest paid people in sales. By reading the very best books written by top salespeople over the years, you will learn ideas, insights, strategies, and techniques to help you make more sales faster than you could ever imagine. Which books should you read? Don't worry. By the law of attraction, you will be drawn to exactly the right books at exactly the right time for you. As you build your sales library and read from it each morning, you will step on the accelerator of your own career. You will move faster and more confidently toward sales success. Your income will double and triple faster than you ever thought possible. Not long ago, a young man, 20 years old, came to one of my public sales seminars. His name was Bob. He had long, unkempt hair, was poorly dressed, and had a negative attitude. During the seminar, I explained the importance of reading 30 to 60 minutes each morning. He sat in the back all day taking notes and left at the end of the day without saying anything to me. About 2 months later, I got a phone call from his uncle. It turned out that Bob came from a broken family, was a high school dropout, and had experienced some minor problems with the law. Finally, his uncle and aunt had taken him in. He was unemployed, had no ambition, and sat around watching TV most of the day. Ultimately, the uncle laid down the law and insisted that Bob get a job, any job, rather than continue to sit around the house. Reluctantly, Bob went out and got a job in straight commission selling from house to house and business to business. As you can imagine, he did poorly. He made very few sales and very little money. But he had to keep this job in order to continue living with his uncle and aunt. One day, the uncle saw the advertisement for my sales seminar in the paper and in desperation decided to send his nephew. Bob did not want to go. He only went because his uncle paid for it, drove him to the seminar, and picked him up afterward. In the 2 months following the seminar, however, a miracle had taken place. The first thing Bob did when he got home was buy a book on selling. He then began getting up each morning and reading for 30 minutes before he went to his sales job. Within a week, he was reading an hour per day. Soon he was getting up at 5 a.m. and reading for 2 hours before he went off to work. In no time at all, his sales took off. Then they exploded. He started breaking sales records, and the more he sold, the more confident and enthusiastic he became. All by himself, he began to make changes in his physical appearance. He had his hair cut and groomed neatly. He bought new clothes so he looked like a professional. The other salespeople in his company began looking up to him and asking him for advice. 6 weeks after my course, they made him a sales manager and put him in charge of a small territory. 2 months after my course, he went with his uncle and bought his first car. He had tripled and quadrupled his income and completely changed his personality. His uncle told me that Bob attributed all of his success to having been forced to go to my seminar. He said that the most important thing he learned was the value of reading in sales for at least an hour every morning before starting out. It transformed his life. The average adult reads less than 1 book a year. Many salespeople do not read at all in the field of selling. In fact, a whopping 90% of sales books are bought by customers who are not in the sales profession. But whenever I talk with top salespeople about the importance of reading, I'm always amazed to learn how many books they have read and are reading at the present time. They sound like sales libraries rattling off titles, authors, and concepts from their libraries of sales books. When you begin to read 1 book per week, 50 books a year, you will separate yourself completely from the ranks of average salespeople. You will put yourself onto the fast track and begin making more sales than you ever dreamed. Try it and prove it for yourself. It is said that reading is to the mind as exercise is to the body. The more you read, the sharper and more alert you become. When you read more in selling, you learn more new ideas to sell more of your products more effectively. The more you read, the faster you move to the top of your field. One of my clients is a sales manager with 32 salespeople selling products in a very competitive industry. Yet the salespeople in his company earn an average of 3 times as much as those of his competitors who sell similar products. Because of this, everyone wants to work for him. Salespeople from other companies are continually applying to him for sales jobs. He told me that he had developed a very simple way to sort out winners from losers in selling. When he sat down to interview a prospective salesperson, he would say, "Thank you for coming in. Before we begin, let me ask you a question. What are some of your favorite books and audio programs on sales in your personal development library?" Then he waits. If the prospective salesperson hesitates or says, "I don't really have any," my friend stands up, takes her by the arm and shows her the door. If the prospective salesperson can quickly give the names of books and audio programs that he reads and listens to, he almost always gets the job. What this manager had learned was that a salesperson who was not personally committed to becoming better by investing her own money in books and audio programs would never be successful in a competitive market. It was a waste of time to hire and attempt to train such a person. He had learned from experience to only hire people who were already committed to their own personal and professional self-development programs. These were the people who very soon became sales superstars and earned 3 times as much as their competitors in rival companies. It would be the same as an athlete who is overweight, unfit, smokes, eats too much, and doesn't train, trying to compete in any sport. No matter how nice or sincere a person he or she is, or how much he desires to win, he doesn't have a chance against well-trained, determined competition. Author Reed Buckley once said, "If you are not continually learning and upgrading your skills, somewhere someone else is, and when you meet that person, you will lose." Business speaker Nick Carter once said, "Audio learning is the greatest breakthrough in education since the invention of the printing press." When I started off in sales, frustrated and unhappy, working long hours and getting few results, someone introduced me to audio learning. It changed my life. Even now, after all these years, I still remember the wonderful experience of listening to top salespeople on audio, sharing their experiences and explaining their methods. Some of them are still with me today. Back when the personal computer was new, there was a term, GIGO, which means garbage in, garbage out. These letters could also stand for good in, good out. When you continually feed your mind with audio learning as you travel from call to call, you program yourself at a deep level to say and do what the winners would do during a sales situation. The average sales professional drives about 25,000 miles per year. This means that, allowing for traffic, the average salesperson sits behind the wheel about 1,000 hours per year. This is the equivalent of 6 months of 40-hour weeks, or 2 university semesters. The University of California released a study recently that showed that you can get the equivalent of a full-time university education each year just by listening to educational audio programs as you drive from place to place. From this day forward, turn your car into a university on wheels. As Zig Ziglar says, enroll in Automobile University and attend full-time for the rest of your career. By turning your car into a learning machine, you will be amazed at the enormous number of great ideas you will hear each week, each month, and each year. A good audio learning program contains the best ideas of 10, 20, and even 50 books. To buy and read these books would cost you hundreds of dollars and take hundreds of hours. Instead, you can get the distilled essence of the best thinkers in your field by simply listening to audio programs as you drive around. Not only that, you can stop the audio program when you come to a particularly good idea and take some time to think about how you could use it in your sales work. You can repeat an audio program and listen to it several times. By listening to such programs, you keep your mind awake and alert throughout the sales day. Like a star athlete, when you arrive to call on a prospect, you will be attentive and prepared to perform at your best. The great tragedy is that mediocre salespeople waste this precious learning time. They drive around listening to the radio or to music in their cars. They miss one of the great learning opportunities that is available to professional salespeople. It is said that radio is chewing gum for the ears. For the salesperson, listening to the radio is the equivalent of an athlete's dieting on candy and soft drinks. He loses his focus. He gets distracted by what's on the air. Instead of thinking about how to sell more effectively, his mental powers are weakened. He loses his edge. Don't let this happen to you. The highest paid salespeople I know listen to audio programs all the time. Their cars are mobile classrooms. They usually carry several different audio programs and alternate them based on what they feel they need to learn the most at that moment. The best salespeople don't even know if their radios work because they never turn them on. If a person in the competitive field of sales insists on listening to the radio as she drives around, it is an indication that she simply is not serious about her success. I've worked with countless sales professionals who've struggled for years at low levels of income, and then, as a result of listening to one audio program, often one of mine, their incomes have doubled and tripled sometimes in as little as 30 days. Wouldn't it be a tragedy if the only thing holding you back from earning 2 or 3 times as much as you're earning today was the information contained in a single audio program?